We have all had a worst day of our life. We have all had a worst day of our life. You have had a worst day of your life. And believe me, I hope it stays that way. But you're here. You're here today at an event that focuses on life and growth and learning and excellence and connectedness, on being fresh. Congratulations. How'd you do it? Maybe it's how are you doing it? I'm going to talk with you today about who bounces back. Life can be hard. Life is hard. But we can bounce back. So, as Mike talked, I've had an interesting career. I'm so grateful to get to do what I believe I was created to do. But it's led to kind of strange photo albums. There we go. So, yeah, I've led responses. How do you help people? Our company used to respond often to 10 bank robberies a day across the United States. How do you help people get back to work, back behind the counter, back into a setting where they feel vulnerable and trapped and in danger? How do you help people go back to a factory that blew up? How do you help people go back to school at Virginia Tech after the shooting? How do you help people go back to work on an oil platform that caused an event with huge ecological, economic, and human loss? How do you help people get back on an airplane after they had to land in the Hudson River? And a valuable life lesson, how do you help people recover from Hurricane Katrina? Take note, that was a McDonald's. So in the unlikely event that a hurricane hits Holland, hit the ball pit, you'll be okay. How do you help kids go back to school after shootings? Drivers to get back in cars after NASCAR accidents. People to go to restaurants after shootings and to concerts and to movies. How do you help a nation bounce back after 9/11 when 3,000 people died? But it doesn't have to make CNN to be a really awful day. A minor fender bender is one that happens to somebody else, right? You've had events like this. How do you bounce back? How do you prepare for a worse day so that you're a survivor? Are you going to bend? Are you going to break? I was with a team down in Houston during Hurricane Harvey, responding to businesses that were impacted by it down there. And that same week, my brother in Florida had his house get hit by Hurricane Irma. Remember, they came right after each other like that? And my brother had this great, big, beautiful, stout tree in his front yard with a swing on it for his kids. And today he has, for a Floridian, a lifetime supply of firewood. In his backyard, he had a stand of bamboo. It's all still there. So what research says is people who bend rather than break tend to do better. So I'm going to talk about a term called resilience. Resilience does not mean stoic, unaffected. I'm Teflon baby, nothing touches me. What resilience means is that fully acknowledging the reality that sometimes life knocks me flat on my back. But within me, above me, and around me are the resources for me to bounce back. So the next time you're having a really bad day and somebody says, "How you doing?" Don't say, "Fine, chicken." Say, "Lousy, but I'll be okay." That's resilience. So who's going to bounce back? It's amazing how the same incident can happen to multiple people and you get different impacts. So did anybody here take philosophy class? Anybody pass it? There's a famous quote by Nietzsche that said, "That which doesn't kill me makes me stronger." Do you believe that? I see a few head nods, a few head shakes, a lot of eyes frantically avoiding contact with the presenter. I think the answer is sometimes, because not everybody bounces back from tragedies. Some people become victims, and I'm not being pejorative, I'm not putting anybody down, but sometimes people allow an incident to define them. So, on the very, very rare occasions when my wonderful wife, seated over there someplace, can convince me to put a hammer into this hand, this thumb is in mortal danger, because I'm lousy at that stuff. And when I very, very, very predictably smack this poor thumb, even though it represents a minute percentage of my total body mass, for about 72 hours, it defines me. And everything I do for the next 3 days centers around this throbbing digit, part of everything I do. It's almost like I look in the mirror and all I see is thumb. That can happen to people too. It's important after a tragedy or after some condition that produces a real hardship not to allow yourself to be defined as just that, because there's more to you. There's much more to you that has more meaning than that. Yes, it happened. Yes, it was awful. We're not ducking it. But don't drive the rest of your life in park only looking in the rearview mirror. And there's some people who bounce back quickly. And they may experience the same thing that the other person does, but instead of saying, I'm a victim of abuse, I'm a victim of Afghanistan, I'm a victim of the economic downturn, I'm a victim of a bad boss, a victim of breast cancer, they say, I'm a survivor of that stuff. And doesn't that person sound and look and feel and behave in a different way? So different. And then there's another category of people that, I made up a word, we'll call them surthrivers. And surthrivers are those who suffer deeply after a crisis or after a tragedy, and they really hurt. But they dig in and they ask themselves the existential questions that make them better. They don't bounce back as quickly as survivors, but once they do, they take off, and they would self-report, and those who watch them would say, man, never want to go through that again, but I'm better for it. My life has more meaning. What I do and who I'm with is richer and deeper and more valuable. So, Nietzsche, let's see who's going to bounce back. What makes a difference? I took this picture responding to the Boston Marathon bombing, because it was an amazingly resilient community, and the people blew me away with their desire and collaboration in bouncing back. So there's a lot of research that's talked about when this happens, who's going to be there and who's going to be there, and 3 things come up very frequently. 1, they find that me, it's all about me, lots of drama about me. Did you hear the word me? Me folks tend not to bounce back. You come to the end of me pretty quickly. And other people come to the end of your me way quicker yet, right? They find instead that people who bounce back are mission-driven. They have a belief in and a commitment to some cause way bigger than me that motivates my life and offers it meaning and purpose and direction. That can be your faith. It's mine. That can be your commitment to your family, your commitment to your career, to some cause to make things bigger than me. It can be your faith into your family, your career, your patriotism. Because a lot of times when you're going through really hard times, life's hitting you like a fire hose in the face, you have to go, why am I doing this again? Oh yeah, that's why. 2, you find that people who isolate and stay there tend not to be as resilient as those who have access to and then access social support. So on a really bad day, it's okay to go to your man cave or your she shack for a little while, but come out and interact with other people. I'm going to get to that because we are social. We are engaged, and we have tremendous ability to help each other and to be there for other people. 3rd, interestingly, so if a tragedy happened to Bob today, March 19, 2019, please know. And we're going to say, this happened to him. There's his future. What's his prognosis? How's he going to do? Interestingly, one of the best predictors of my future is, yes, today, but even more so, it's how was I doing before this happened? Did I have healthy, life-giving methods of dealing with frustration and fear and conflict and decision-making? And was I taking good care of myself, doing all the healthy stuff Grandma taught me to do? If any of you have ever blown out a knee, part of your prognosis is how healthy was this leg before the incident happened, right? So let's look at these. What's your mission? I am licensed to do group therapy, but we're not going to do that today. But think about this. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What do I want my grandbabies to say about me someday? What do I want my grandbabies to tell their grandbabies about me long after I'm gone? Strategic planning, they always say begin with the end in mind, right? What do we want to have different? How will we know when we're done? Let's do that with our lives. What do you want your eulogy to say? People who bounce back from hardship wrestle with those questions and have answers that motivate their lives. I encourage you to do that too. So what's the why behind your what? You will do many, many, many whats every day. They're meaningless unless there's a why behind them. And that moves it out of work, into career, into vocation, into calling. Positive social support. Isn't it a wonderful friend who will tell you that you have a beautiful smile and when you have spinach in your teeth? Fully a third of you just went like that. That's a wonderful friend, isn't it? It's a wonderful friend who says, I care about you enough to risk ticking you off. Resilient people have access. All right, you didn't do so well in philosophy. How about British literature? Or anybody seen a lot of Disney movies? Okay. Rudyard Kipling said, for the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. So often we look at a team or a group, a work group, a family, a community, and we go, oh my gosh, no wonder they're so good. Look at all the superstars making up that team. Or let's say we have a musical group, and it's a quartet, and we say, wow, the soprano, the tenor, the alto, the bass, they're all so good. Oh, that quartet's going to be awesome. And then we hear them sing, and the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And they blend in a way where you say, wow, not only was the strength of the pack the wolf, but the strength of each wolf was the pack. Are you in relationships that make you stronger? Iron sharpens iron. Are you in relationships where you trust each other enough to where you will tell each other about this beautiful smile and the spinach in your teeth? Are you in relationships where you trust? Now, if I were to ask you to close your eyes and picture one person you trust, hopefully you got somebody. My guess is that you trust them on 3 levels. We tend to trust competence, character, compassion. We trust people that are competent, that are good at stuff. I bet you didn't pick a knucklehead, right? We tend to trust people with character who tell us the truth, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, have a good work ethic, do their best, operate according to best practices. And we trust people that have an emotional investment in us. They cheer for us when we win, and they grieve with us when we don't. Resilient people are part of those kind of relationships. They receive it and they give it. Healthy coping skills. So, how you doing on this one? Are you eating healthy? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting some exercise? Are you not putting too many other poisons into your system? Do you hang out with nice people? This is all stuff Grandma taught you, right? Go to bed, eat healthy, play with nice people, get outside, that kind of stuff. Are you doing that ahead of time? People who will bounce back from a tragedy had this going for them in place before. And so I'm going to challenge you. What's your plan? You all plan and plan and plan and then plan the process of planning, right? What's your resilience plan? What are you intentionally doing that helps you to be at your best so that you can be resilient? It's going to be different for everybody. What really helps one person drives another crazy, is stressful for another, and bores another one to tears. But have one that works for you. This is just mine. I have 5 things I try to do every day. Don't make it every day, but I try. I try faith, family, friends, fitness, fun. Faith, family, friends, fitness, fun. Get up early for devotions. Try to invest in my marriage and kids. Hit the gym. Didn't see any of you there today. I think you're on the fitness protection program. Friends are important, especially friends who make me better and friends who make me laugh. What about you? And then let's think about Holland. What do we need from each other? How can we put infrastructure in place that's mission-driven, provides social support, and makes us good at what we do so that nobody's left out, that we communicate and problem solve on the worst day of our life as well? Folks, we can do this. I really think we can do this. We have faith. We have hope. And we have love. And the greatest is love. Thank you.